Hello zusammen. Today our group will present a macroeconomic report about Germany. We will analyze Germany's standard of living, cost of living, inflation, unemployment, economic growth, fiscal policy and monetary policy. We will also explain Germany's major macroeconomic problems, including demographic aging and declining industrial competitiveness. Finally, we will provide realistic policy recommendations that could help Germany achieve stronger and more sustainable economic growth in the future. Germany is located in Central Europe and it is the #1 economy in the European Union with the population around 84 million people. Big companies such as BMW, Volkswagen, Siemens and Badische Anilin und Soda-Fabrik are global leaders and strongly support Germany's GDP, jobs and exports. This has made it a global industrial leader, but at the same time it made its economy too sensitive to global changes. Thus, when the world's demand slows and trade tensions increase, Germany's growth can also slow down. Standard of living is one of the highest in the world. GDP per capita is approximately $57,000, and the country strongly performs on the Human Development Index with high life expectancy and stronger education system. However, inequality still exists, and around 1/5 of the population is at risk of poverty, especially pensioners, migrants, and low-income workers. There are also regional differences, with the south being wealthier than some eastern regions. Finally, the cost of living in Germany has increased in recent years, especially after the 2022 energy crisis. Inflation has peaked above 8%, though it's now slowing, the prices are still higher than before.
My name is Celine, and now I will be talking about the engine room of Germany's economy. So Germany is Europe's industrial powerhouse, famous for its machinery sector. While we often think of giants such as Volkswagen, the real strength lies in Mittelstand. Those highly specialized medium-sized firms dominate global markets. However, it hasn't been in years since in 2023 we saw a slight GDP contraction of 0.3%. This is mainly because Germany's energy-intensive industries were hit hard by rising gas prices, proving that being a manufacturing giant comes with risks when global market is unstable. So why does Germany stay at the top? The answer is its institutions. Germany has a world-class legal system and very low corruption, which makes it a safe haven for the investors. But the real secret sauce is the dual education system. By mixing school with the job training, Germany ensures that its workers aren't just educated, but are the masters of their craft. While bureaucracy and slow digitalization are current hurdles, these strong institutional bones are what keeps the economy stable during global storms. Finally, let's look at the people. Germany's unemployment rate is currently around 5.9%, which is great, but hides a massive problem, a labor shortage. Because the population is aging, companies are actually struggling to find workers to keep the machines running. We also use a unique system which is called Kurzarbeit, where the government helps distributes wage during a slow time to prevent layoffs. So to summarize, Germany has good tools and institutions, but the biggest challenge for them to moving forward will be finding enough skilled people to do the work.
Hello guys, and today I'm going to talk about Germany's financial system, currency and inflation situation. First of all, Germany has a well-developed financial system. In this way, banks support investment, businesses activity and economic growth. Germany has several types of banks, including commercial banks, saving banks and cooperative banks. Because of this, the banking system is more balanced and businesses have different ways to get financing. Germany also saves quite a lot. In 2024, gross savings were around 27% of GDP. This shows that the country has a good financial base for the future investment. At the same time, investment was around 21% of GDP. This is not a bad level, but for a large developed economy like Germany, it could be higher. Germany especially needs more investment in areas like infrastructure, housing, digital technologies and green energy. Another important point in Germany's monetary system, Germany uses the euro and its central bank is Deutsche Bundesbank. However, Germany does not make monetary policy alone, because it's part of euro system. This means that the Bundesbank works together with the European Central Bank and other euro area central banks. The euro is generally a stable currency, which helps companies and households plan better, but exchange rate changes can still affect Germany, especially through import prices and exports. Finally, inflation is still an issue. It's much lower than during the energy crisis, but still prices are increasing. In April 2026, inflation was expected to be around 2.9% and core inflation was about 2.3%. This means people are still feel pressure in daily life. When prices rise faster than incomes, purchasing power falls. This affects low-income families, pensioners, and students the most, because they spend more of their income on basic needs like food, rent, energy, and transportation.
So moving further into our country analysis, I will be covering the fiscal and the monetary policy of Germany, as well as the drivers behind its aggregate demand and aggregate supply. So let's start with the fiscal policy. For 15 years, Germany was defined by its debt brake policy, which is a strict rule limiting the new debt to just 0.35% of the GDP. However, the post-pandemic recession has changed everything. So to stimulate growth, Germany had used an expansionary fiscal policy in early 2025, launching a massive 500 billion euro plan to modernize the healthcare and infrastructure. So finally, let's look at what actually drives the German economy. So on the demand side, Germany is heavily relying on selling the goods abroad. They export 169 billions of dollars worth of cars alone. And while the government spending and rising wages are helping the demand to grow, the high energy bills are making the households a bit more cautious to spend. And while this has pushed the public debt projections from 62% to 80% by 2029, the public debt of Germany remains much lower than that of France or Italy, for example. And this spending is funded by a progressive tax system of Germany, where the income tax can range from 14% to 45%, ensuring a steady flow of revenue despite its current investment-driven deficit. So on the supply side, Germany has two main challenges. So first, high energy costs and labor taxes are making it too expensive for firms to run the factories. And second, to stay competitive, Germany invests heavily on new technology to make the production more efficient. So in short, overall, Germany is spending currently big to modernize its economy, while it also uses careful interest rate management to make the prices stable for its citizens. So, as a Eurozone member, Germany's monetary policy is determined by the European Central Bank, with the goal of maintaining a 2% inflation rate. And we actually saw this in action quite recently. So, when the inflation rate skyrocketed from 2% to 11% in 2022 due to the energy crisis, the European Central Bank used a contractionary monetary policy, raising the interest rates for the first time in 15 years. And today, at the deposit facility rate at 2%, we can see that this strategy has clearly worked. The current interest rates fell to 2.8%, according to the March 2026 statistics.
Now let's look at the problems. First problem is that there is a scarcity of people, there is a declining birth rate, so the people are getting older, now they need pensions, they need healthcare, so the money goes there, but there's not enough people to replace them, so there's scarcity of skilled workers. Second problem emerges, actually second and third problem, both emerge from the war between Ukraine and Russia. Because of the war, now it's harder to import and export stuff. So previously Germany used to import their energy from Russia. Now there's a scarcity of this resource because they're not importing or importing in a smaller amount, and the energy costs higher, which increases the cost of production. The last problem is that there is not full equality in all of the Germany. So the Eastern and Western Germany have different conditions. Eastern Germany is less developed in infrastructure, they have lower wages, and also they have less job opportunities. Now let's look at the solutions. The first solution would be to encourage skilled migration, which means that people who want to work from foreign languages and they want to work in Germany, they will have easier visa procedures and they will be provided with integration trainings and language trainings, except that they can motivate their own people to work, like women and elderly, by providing childcare services, by providing easier flexible conditions of work and professional trainings. To decrease the cost of the energy, the government can invest in renewable energy, like solar, hydro, or maybe wind energy. This has already shown its benefits in Denmark, who transferred to wind energy, and they were able to cut the costs of energy. The other problem that should be addressed is they should invest more into education and infrastructure, not just for Western side, but Eastern side as well. So they can invest into support for research and innovation, maybe logistics, internet access, better internet, which would in long term create more innovations and better growth. Germany remains one of the most economically developed countries in Europe, or almost in all of the world, because of their innovations, because of their manufacturing, because of their high standards of living. Generally, they're thriving economically compared to many other countries in the world. However, they still have their own problems like declining birth rate, not enough skilled workers because of that, because of the war, as I mentioned, the cost of energy have risen. For that, they have to address these problems early on, and they have to invest in renewable energy, maybe transfer to it instead of the traditional energy. They have to give motivation to their own people to work. They have to, most importantly, make the Western and Eastern states equal to ensure the development in the whole country, not in just one region of it. And yeah, if they want to keep being economically stable, they have to do all of that and maintain effective fiscal and monetary policies.